All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our December Entrepreneur Coffee Break. I believe all of you have attended sessions before. I'm Carol Spicer with Spicer Facilitation, and I'm very pleased to welcome Amy Jones from Government of Canada Procurement Organization with us. I'm not going to try to spell it that full name because it's crazy long. Amy is a little under the weather, so we're gonna protect her voice as best as we can. But she's got a lot of information to share with us, and I'm excited for the presentation. So as you know, their sessions are recorded and they'll be posted on our social media. If you need to leave for any reason, you can always pop on and see what was missed. For the benefit of Amy, I'm going to run through and ask everyone to introduce themselves so that she knows who her audience is. And also, if you could let us know where you're joining us from, because that's just one of the quirky things that I like about virtual, where folks are joining. And I will take a moment before I ask you folks to tell us where you are to let you know that I'm joining you from the beautiful community of Pasadena, on the west coast of Newfoundland, Labrador, which is in the unceded territory of the ancient Beothuk. So I want to take a moment to acknowledge with respect the diverse cultures and traditions of all Indigenous people. In our province, we have 5 Indigenous communities, so the Beothuk, the Innu, the Inuit, the Mi'kmaq, and the Southern Labrador Inuit. So I ask that you join me in thinking about our great land, and we were just talking about some of the turmoil in the world, and I think we're very blessed on the lands that we are on. So I ask that you join me in taking a moment to think about that. So we've got a number of folks here. I'm going to run down alphabetical for a couple of reasons. Daphne's at the top of the list, and she may need to pop off. So she's going to introduce herself and talk about a little bit of a project that she's working on. For the rest of you, if you can hold off on some of that till after, that'd be great. But if you do need to leave, then just tell me now so we can get that so people can hear. So Daphne, I'll go to you first, and then Hillary, you'll be next.
Thank you, Carol. My name is Daphne Zev, and I'm a commercial business advisor with Newfoundland Labrador Credit Union. We serve the local community for operating out of credits, term loans, commercial mortgages, and we also have a business account. We're basically a financial institution, but a cooperative and financial institution supporting the local communities. And I have to drop off soon because I've got another meeting at 10 o'clock. But I wanted to share, I'm involved with a study in STANL with our beautiful Hillary here, and I will be taking on a project with them to help our students navigate and find mentors and really network within the business community. So I'll be kind of involved in that in the new year, and I would like to reach out. I'm going to be reaching out to many of the business communities within St. John's. Sorry, I'm from St. John's as well. I forgot to mention that. Beautiful St. John's, and so I wanted to just kind of mention that. If anybody would like to be involved in the mentoring aspect of our beautiful program of the Study and STANL program, which is through MUN. And Hillary can get more into details on that. And we're looking to obtain mentors from different industries. And we're going to be doing it as a group setting. And also, hopefully from that will be some individuals, like one-on-one that we can kind of put together. But the new project is to kind of get the students come into a room, meet with a local business community from different sectors, and then they can go and meet with the one that meets their field of studies, and then hopefully and ask some questions, and hopefully again have some mentoring going back and forth to the students, and for the students to kind of find someone that they feel that they're comfortable with to meet and talk about how they like to have a mentor. So I really appreciate, would love to have any of you reach out to me, and I'm probably going to reach out to you as well in the future.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Excellent. And I can attest, I've been a mentor in that program for a couple of years, and I've had the pleasure of speaking to groups on a couple of their Entrepreneur Cafe sessions, and I've always enjoyed talking to them and getting to know about other parts of the world as well. So Hillary, I'll go to you, and then Kelly.
Excellent. Glad to be here this morning. I've had to miss the last couple ones because work just comes up at the last minute, or I've been getting sick. So I'm really glad to finally make this one. As Daphne mentioned, I'm involved with Study and Stay NL. So we work with international students at MUN and CNA when they're in their transitional period. So their final year into graduating and trying to get into the job market or start their own business. So we handle kind of supporting them with skills building, connections, resources that they need basically to land that first job after graduating. Or I like to work with the students on the entrepreneurial side. So just basically connecting them however I can to the resources and people they need to know to basically start their business and grow and scale it up from there. As Daphne mentioned, love the mentorship. Thank you for doing our plug for that. We're continuing with some one-on-one mentorship this year and then exploring group mentorship. And Allison, I know my colleague on the West Coast, Linda, she's connected with Navigate on that end. So very excited about that work. And if anyone's interested, please reach out for more information. Outside of that, I'm also exploring my own entrepreneurial journey with Reclaim Community CDO. And we're aimed at helping community-led housing across the country, specifically citizens who want to start developing cool, innovative housing projects in their own communities, helping guide them along that journey from start to finish. So we're working on Newfoundland's first co-housing project in Portugal Cove, St. Phillips, which is getting through its zoning this month at the municipal level. We hope to move that ahead. So it's 30 units of kind of a custom design neighborhood that's made for the people that will live there at the end of the day. They're involved in the whole design process. So it's housing that people actually want and meets people's needs. So having fun exploring that entrepreneurial journey there.
That is so cool. And Hillary's in St. John's as well, Amy, for you to know. Yes. Awesome. Kelly and then Brennan.
I'm Kelly Lannon, and I'm coming from the beautiful Pasadena today. The weather's actually not too terrible. I work with WRDC, Women in Resource Development Corporation, and one of our main projects is getting women and girls into trades and technology in fields that they aren't traditionally in. And it's been a fantastic ride so far. That the organization is amazing. But I also come with an entrepreneurial hat as well, as I am in the, I have began actually my Bees Knees events and marketing. So I do event planning and whatnot. So that's me.
It's so cool because I get to see the evolution of Kelly as she's going through that. She started with a entrepreneur the first couple times she joined us. I might be doing an entrepreneurship. Then she came to Startup Weekend. Now she's actually got it started. So it's really exciting, Kelly. So congratulations on that.
Thanks.
Brennan and then Marie-Renee.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brennan Lowry. I'm joining you while walking through Corner Brook. Sorry that I'm not at my desk yet. I work with Navigate Entrepreneurship Center. Work with Allison, who's also on the call. Navigate is basically here to support entrepreneurs in Western Newfoundland. And my aspect of it is really trying to work with early stage, people with an entrepreneurial interest, post-secondary students, as well as just folks from the general public. And then Allison runs the Small Business Incubator, which she can tell you about.
Awesome. My goodness, Brennan, very, very dedicated to supporting this community. Thank you for joining us on your walk.
No problem.
Dedicated or foolish? I'm not sure, my friend, which I should say. We appreciate it. Marie-Renee, who is, Marie-Renee, I met at an event that I was going to, and I thought it was a entrepreneurship event. It turned out to be at Coin Franco. It turned out to be an evening of Parler Français, and it was a long time since I'd spoken French. And now Marie-Renee has reconnected with me in a different role. So if you want to let folks know who you are.
Good morning. My name is Marie, and I work for Horizon TNL. So for anybody that knows Andrew Hibbett, I feel like everybody knows him. So just joined him in the team in this past September. So very happy to be on the West Coast. So I'm talking to you from the top of Massey Drive, so very close to Corner Brook.
Mhm.
And so I have 2 new programs that started in September. So I'm more in the business succession. So basically, we have a new program called Solution Succession, tailored for women, to give them a bunch of skills to acquire business that are already existing. And it's in 3 phases. And so the first one is search for business opportunities. The second one is business acquisition. And the third one is business integration. And they're going to also have coaching and mentoring during this program. It should be ready beginning of 2024. And the other platform, it's for it's free. Both programs are. It's called the SME Succession Hub, SME for small medium enterprise. So it's a platform free for anybody. It's new for Newfoundland and Labrador, and on which people can put their business for sale. They can also, there's a directory of buyers and also a directory of business transfer experts. So anybody can put their things on there for free and great visibility in the province. And yeah, there's the 2 new programs I'm working on.
Excellent. Thank you. And Allison.
Hi, I'm Allison Rowe. I'm the Business Incubator Manager with the Navigate program, working with Brennan, and also with our new Makerspace Manager, Felipe Hanstead, who just arrived from Brazil. I run our business incubator down at the Center for Research and Innovation here in Corner Brook. For those of you who haven't been here yet or who aren't familiar with it, it's or if you've been to Corner Brook, you've seen the big white building across from the mill that used to be a community eyesore, but now it's beautiful inside and out. So we've got this great space here, great co-working space, and we have 2 maker spaces here as well. So as Brenna mentioned, he works with early stage startups, so that like early ideation stage, and I work with startups just as they're getting started and launching and starting to grow. So if anyone would like to reach out to me to set up a meeting, please feel free. We have a number of events and activities as well that I think would benefit anyone in that early stage. We offer the Business Wings program, which happens bi-weekly on Wednesday evenings here from 5:30 to 7:30 at the CRI, the Center for Research and Innovation. Our next one will be January 3rd. So if anyone's interested, please let me know. That's a peer-to-peer mentorship group where we get early stage entrepreneurs together with seasoned entrepreneurs, and we talk about the burning questions and challenges that people have when trying to get their businesses up and running and growing those businesses. We also, Brennan and I have a Christmas mixer happening here at the CRI on Friday from 11:30 to 1:30. So again, feel free to come drop by. And I'd also like to mention, we just launched our Lean Stack program, which is, I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Lean Canvas or the business model Canvas. The Lean Stack program was developed by the person who created the Lean Canvas. So it's basically a program that'll bring you right from start to finish with your business, and bring you through all those early questions of, are you even doing the right business? Like, is this what you should be doing? And it brings you through a whole stage of checking out demand, whether or not the idea is viable, whether it's feasible. So we can also help you with that. And I'd also just like to mention, Marie-Renée, I got your email, but it went to quarantine and I only just found it. So I will be reaching out shortly. Sometimes I also want to mention our emails have been going to people's junk mail lately. So if you haven't gotten the Navigate newsletters or any updates from us recently, please check your junk mail, because we were having some issues there. You may have to go and set us on your safe list.
Awesome. Excellent. Thank you. So Amy, I'll turn to you. Before I do want to acknowledge that Janice Ryan of Rudy's Courier Service and about 19 other ventures in her head is our sponsor for this month. So I think Janice has pulled off into some of the things that she's been working on. Kelly's laughing because Kelly worked for Janice briefly during her work term. But Janice has graciously been our sponsor. So Rudy's Courier Service. She also has Rudy's Food Mover business. So she's been, you'll see her trucks going up and down the West Coast. Plus, she does 2 runs a week, I think, to St. John's, and she moves food as well. So she's really connected with the agriculture industry as well as the craft beer. I see her taking beers across the province too. So I think important pieces. But I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge Janice and her sponsorship for our coffee break this month. So Amy and I connected because I actually have a supply arrangement with the Government of Canada. I've been at a presentation with Amy, and I thought it was very important information. And for those of you that support businesses, I think you'll get a snapshot from Amy today of what it's like to do business with the Government of Canada. And for those of you that have your own business, it's a really worthwhile experience. So I'm very pleased to welcome Amy here. So Amy, I'll turn it to you to introduce and take it away.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah, as Carol mentioned, I'm a little bit under the weather, just over laryngitis. I had it over the weekend and tried to rest my voice last couple days. Hopefully, I might just need to take some water breaks, cough a little bit, but hopefully I'll be okay today. But it should be okay where it's virtual. I'm not screaming or anything like that. So thank you so much, Carol, for inviting me. You're been a great person to speak with about federal procurement because you've had success. So you're a good promotional person for federal procurement in general, but also the work of Procurement Assistance Canada. So my predecessor, I guess, worked a lot with Carol. And now I'm in the role of helping businesses. So yeah, I'm happy to be here today to speak with everyone. I did a similar presentation to this out in Corner Brook at the Center for Research and Innovation back in September. So Brendan and I spoke there. Thank you for hosting me then. So it's a similar kind of presentation to what I did then. Oh, actually, I'm just noticing I use that one as a template and I still have that on the beginning of my presentation. So I'm gonna just replace that there now quickly. And also I'm located in Portugal Cove, St. Phillips. And so I know a little bit about that project you were talking about, Hillary, but it's good to hear that it's kind of moving along. So I'll be interested to hear how that's going. So and my office is in St. John's, but I'm working from home today in Portugal Cove, St. Phillips. So I'll share my screen. And can everyone, oh, no.
There we go. Yep.
Everyone can see that. Okay. Just gonna adjust some things on my screen here. For some reason, the speaking notes don't want to come up for me. There we go. Okay. This shouldn't take too long. And I can also do a demo today based on interest, I guess.
Okay.
Let's see if you are if everyone is interested in that. We can see where we are at the end of the presentation and you can let me know.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. So I'm with Procurement Assistance Canada. We support smaller and diverse businesses through the federal procurement process. We engage, assist, and feel free to jump in anytime. And I'm also going to share this presentation afterwards. I'll send it I'll probably share it with Carol and Carol can send it out to everyone.
Okay.
That's good. We engage, assist, and inform businesses on how to sell goods and services to the Government of Canada. We work to reduce barriers to ensure fairness in the process, and we look for opportunities to advance supplier diversity through targeted outreach and advocacy. So I'm an outreach officer, so this is all part of my role in recognizing that federal procurement can be quite complicated. The Government of Canada has developed the Procurement Assistance Canada and outreach officers like myself to help with this process. So We're here to help. We deliver presentations like this, but we also engage one-on-one all the time. So if after this presentation you have any more questions, we can always have a one-on-one follow-up meeting. Or if you work with any businesses and you think they may be interested in federal procurement and you would like them to speak with me, you can always connect me with them. So I'll also get Carol to share my contact information with everyone. So today I'm going to talk about understanding the procurement process, registering your company, finding opportunities, bidding on opportunities, Procurement Assistance Canada services and resources, and a Canada Buys demo if there's interest and we have time at the end. So we'll talk about the potential opportunities. So people don't often think about this or realize, but the Government of Canada is one of the largest buyers of goods and services in Canada. It spends approximately $24 billion each year and awards over 500,000 contracts and processes close to 2 million credit card transactions each year. So almost all of these credit card purchases, which are direct purchases from vendors, are valued under $10,000. So smaller Canadian companies are well positioned to take on these types of contracts and provide the Government of Canada with the majority of goods and services it needs every year. So you may also think that the government doesn't buy what you sell or what small businesses in Newfoundland and Labrador sell, but you may be surprised. So the federal government buys just about everything from goods ranging from food and beverage items to custom manufactured products, services ranging from catering or snow clearing to professional and technical services like training, HR, IT, engineering or environmental services, to real property services like grounds maintenance or janitorial services. So if you're a business owner in search of new opportunities, the Government of Canada could be your next market. So we do have projects and initiatives to increase the diversity of bidders and suppliers. So it's also part of my role is to increase diversity with the multiple equity deserving groups that we work with. So we have a better buying initiative that's improving procurement both for government buyers and for businesses supplying goods and services. The key part of better buying is increasing the participation of businesses from equity deserving groups in government procurement. So we've been developing pilot projects to test how to best provide these procurement opportunities for equity deserving groups, including women, persons with disabilities, racialized Canadians, Indigenous people, and 2S LGBTQI+ communities. So through these pilots, they have led to actual contracts. We've learned a lot about some of the barriers faced by equity deserving groups, as well as the support they may require when competing for federal contracts. So we do actually have a couple of these examples of projects here in Newfoundland and Labrador. So right now there's currently a catering request for information posted on our website, Canada Buys. So that's where we're looking for caterers from equity deserving groups to be added to a list of caterers for Atlantic Canada. And we also have a pilot project for Indigenous artists. So that is a list of Indigenous artists in Atlantic Canada. The artists do need to register on the Indigenous Business Directory. And for both of those projects, the suppliers do need to register in certain government databases and things like that, but I cannot always help with those processes as well. So we're always building on the lessons learned from pilots such as those. And another thing we're working on is the phasing in of a minimum target of 5% of federal contracts being awarded to Indigenous owned or led businesses. So yeah, this is an overall target going to be phased in by the end of 2020, fiscal year 2025 by all government departments and agencies. That 5% of our procurement needs to be with Indigenous businesses. So that's creating a lot of opportunity for Indigenous businesses through set-asides and different things like that. And all federal departments will be looking to work with Indigenous businesses that are on the Indigenous Business Directory. And lastly, we have a coaching service for experienced bidders who are from diverse socioeconomic groups who have had limited success on procurement opportunities in the past. So they work one-on-one with a coach to improve on the areas of the bidding process where they need assistance. So that's something else we offer at Procurement Assistance Canada, on top of our regular one-on-ones that we also offer. So I'll just talk a little bit about the different types of procurement, just to give a bit of more of a background on that. So there's low dollar value procurement, which is purchases below $25,000 for goods and $40,000 for services and construction. So these are often purchased directly from vendors, such as the credit card purchases that I was speaking about. And low dollar value procurement makes an opportunity for you to grow your business by developing a business relationship with the government of Canada through smaller contracts. So it's important to rely on relationship building a lot of the time for these lower dollar value contracts because they won't be posted and they don't require bidding. They may get quotes, but they won't get posted on our website with full tenders. So having relationships with potential buyers is important for these low dollar value procurements. So it's important to register as a supplier to increase your visibility. And then there's also other steps that you can take to try to determine who your potential buyers could be. And that's something that I can help with as well, walking you through the searching for those. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in the presentation as well. Then competitive procurement is procurement over $25,000 for goods and $40,000 for services. And that's done through the solicitation of bids and quotes from potential suppliers using a variety of methods. So these are posted on our Canada Buys website, which I will also speak to more. But anything that is these competitive procurements will have tenders posted to our website. So you may see things like RFP, request for proposal, request for standing offer, or request for supply arrangement, among other different types of solicitation methods that you might see. But the tender notice will indicate the method of procurement being used and will outline the solicitation documents. So a couple that I just wanted to give a bit more information on because people tend to be interested. And this is what Carol was speaking about, that she has supply arrangement with the federal government. So I'll talk about standing offers and supply arrangements. So when a buyer needs to purchase goods or services on a repetitive basis, they may choose to establish a standing offer. It's an agreement with a pre-qualified supplier to provide goods and or services at pre-arranged prices under set terms and conditions when and if required. So it's not actually a contract until the buyer issues a call-up against a standing offer to a pre-qualified supplier. So this is often used for things like goods, like say the government needs an office chair. They have a list of pre-qualified suppliers who can provide that. They can go to that list, choose a supplier that's already pre-qualified, and then issue a call-up to purchase that chair. And they already know the pre-arranged price. A supply arrangement is another tool used to create a pool of pre-qualified suppliers. However, it's used when there are variables that can't be adequately defined in advance. For example, it can be used when we don't know what the statement of work or specific requirement will be, or when a fixed price can't be determined for the good or service. So this is also a list that suppliers can get onto to be pre-qualified. But in this case, it doesn't have a specific price attached because they don't know exactly what it's going to be. So this one's often used for services. Supply range or standing offers are often used for goods. Supply arrangements are often used for services. There are some exceptions to that. But yeah, these can be really good ways to get those low dollar value procurements as well, because once you're on the list, a potential buyer can choose you from that list for the low dollar value procurements. So I'll talk about the different steps for becoming a government supplier. First, you have to register. So register on procurement platforms that apply to your goods or services. Registering your business allows government buyers to identify potential suppliers. Then you need to find a suitable opportunity. So promote your business directly to buyers for low dollar value opportunities, up to $25,000 for goods or $40,000 for services. Or for those over those thresholds, you would search on Canada Buys. And then the third step is submitting a bid. So when you're competing for tender opportunities, you must understand the bidding requirements described in the solicitation documents. Each tender opportunity defines the requirements for the goods and services to be delivered and the requirements for the compliant bids. So yeah, and then there's one last step, post bid, that we don't want to forget about. So if you do go through all these steps and if you aren't successful, you should always request a debrief, so that you can it'll help you understand the reasons why your bid was not selected, so you can improve on your next submission. So I'll go through these steps in a little bit more detail. So for registering as a supplier, I'm just talking about registering in SAP Ariba. So we're transitioning to electronic procurement. And so that uses SAP Ariba for viewing solicitation documents for the tenders that use it and bidding. So you'll actually bid on those tenders within that platform. But not all opportunities use SAP Ariba yet because we're still transitioning. So we still require businesses to register in the supplier registration information system, and that will give you a procurement business number. And that number is used for anyone who wants to register in what I have on the next slide, the professional services methods of supply. So if you want to register for those, then you need to have your procurement business number as well. So these are the first two places we tell everyone to register if they're interested in doing business with us. And then professional services, this is what I was referring to. So we have our centralized professional services system, ePortal, it's called. So within that system, that's where you would bid on certain professional services streams. So there's pro services, task-based informatics, so and task inclusion professional services. So there's several of them. I'm not going to go into too much detail here right now, but it's just professional services is a whole other thing that we can always speak about one-on-one as well. That there's a process to register for those that is a little bit different. So you do need to register separately for if the professional services you provide are on the list for these different methods of supply. All right, so finding a suitable opportunity. We talked about Canada Buys. So that is our official source for Government of Canada tender and award notices. Visit canadabuys.canada.ca to search for public sector tenders and contract history. Register within SAP Ariba. And our old system, where we're transitioning to electronic procurement and transitioning to Canada Buys, we used to use the buy and sell. So you may be familiar with that. So some things are still available on the buy and sell, but most things right now are available on Canada Buys. So it is easy to navigate. Suppliers can search for new contract opportunities as well as see past contract awards. There's no registration required to search. So you do need to register for SAP Ariba. So if a tender does use SAP Ariba, then you do need to have an account to see the solicitation documents for that tender. But you can always search Canada Buys for free. No, you're not required to register or anything like that. And SAP Ariba is also free. You just do need to register for that. You can search using plain language and filters. And you can find data for any tenders, previous contracts, current standing offers, supply arrangements. You can also subscribe for updates on specific tenders or searches. And you can also indicate if you want to partner up on an opportunity. You can put in your business information and other businesses can see if you're interested in partnering or subcontracting on a particular opportunity. So for the low dollar value procurement, I talked about relationship building being important. So there are some sources for procurement data to see who has purchased things in the past. So knowing what buyers have bought in the past and which companies have been successful selling to them can be useful as you develop your business strategy. So this is particularly important for building networks and relationships for low dollar value opportunities. So I have some links here for data. Now, I'm always available for a one-on-one if this is something that you or a business that you're speaking with is interested in looking into. I can't really provide enough information right now to get into the weeds on the resources for that, but you can always reach out and we can walk through where you can look for who's purchased what you sell in the past. And this is another resource for that. the government electronic directory service. So this is a directory for most federal public servants across Canada. So you can actually search by department, search by the job title, by name if you do have someone's name, but you just don't have their contact information. So this is a resource as well for trying to find people that could be potential buyers for you. And then the last step is submitting a bid. So in all of this, in the very first place, when you're looking at particular tenders, as a supplier, you should ask yourself, am I capable of offering the service or product requested? Do I meet the evaluation criteria? And am I willing to accept all the terms and conditions? If the answer is no to any of these questions, then that particular opportunity may not be the one for you. So if you have any questions on an active tender, you always have to reach out to the contracting authority. So I'm here to help with general questions and assistance with finding opportunities, getting registered, all that kind of stuff. But once you're looking at a specific tender, you always have to reach out to the contracting authority listed on that tender, because once they have a question and they answer that question, they have to post the answer as an amendment to be fair to all potential suppliers. So we can't answer any questions on tenders without offering that fairness to all suppliers. And when submitting your bid, always know the bid closing date and where and how to submit your bid. So this is the number one thing. So as I mentioned, some things do use SAP Ariba. Some things use a service called Canada Post eConnect. And some tenders will use a bid receiving unit, which is basically just an email. So you always have to look and see what where the tender is being submitted, because there is some lead time required with the Canada Post Connect. You have to you need about a week in advance to create something through that system. So you always need to look at that right away. Be sure to sign the document, include all required signing completed certifications. I've heard of horror stories of things getting through and then just missing a signature, and just need to make sure that everything is all included. Review your bid and have someone else review it too. Next steps, go to Canada Buys, getting started. Visit our website to see how we can help. So our website at Procurement Assistance Canada is canada.ca/PAC. You can always reach out to me for a one-on-one. We also offer general webinars similar to this, but specifically on finding opportunities on Canada Buys. That's a full webinar on that. Supplying professional services to the Government of Canada, bidding on opportunities. We also have an introduction. That's just a longer version of this. So yeah, you can always sign up for one of our regular webinars or reach out to me for support. Check out our website. We have seminar notes for all of our seminars on our website as well. So the main takeaway is that I'm always here to assist, and we have so many resources available, and that the Government of Canada has so many opportunities of federal procurement that many small and medium businesses don't even realize are such an opportunity, because they don't know what we buy. So yeah, here's my contact information, but I'm sure we'll also share that through Carol, and anybody's welcome to contact me anytime.
Fantastic. Give you a minute now to rest your voice and grab a drink. You got through.
I did.
So I guess I'll just ask, Amy can definitely do a little demo here on the Canada Buys site. Is anyone interested? Is that something you want her to walk through? Give me one of the reactions, thumbs up, flying thumbs up or something. It's something, because otherwise I want to respect her voice versus she's struggling a bit today.
I can definitely do it.
Okay.
I'm feeling okay. So
Okay.
if there's interest, I can do probably a bit of a shortened version, or if I can
Okay.
focus on what people find is interesting, I guess, or if anybody has anything they want me to focus on. But you can see my screen now, Canada Buys. Okay, perfect. So this is Canada Buys. So at the top, you'll see the home, getting started, tender opportunities, how procurement works, and support. And then when you scroll down, you'll see the same things. So this is the tender search, getting started, support, how procurement works. They're both the same menus, but this one's just always here. So the getting started, if you are speaking with any businesses who do want to get started, you can always send them my way, or you can send them to this page. And then this will bring them to where they need to register for their SAP Ariba account. This is a supplier registration information system, the SRI, to get the procurement business number. And if it's an Indigenous business, we always recommend them registering in the Indigenous Business Directory, because that's how we know that a business is Indigenous, so that they count towards that 5%. So this is used a lot by federal buyers, but it's used by others as well. It's a verified list of Indigenous businesses, and it's viewable. It's publicly available, so anybody can go here and see this list of Indigenous businesses. So we do recommend Indigenous businesses register there as well. And then the tender opportunities page is where I'll actually focus mostly on that for the demo. How procurement works. We have a lot of resources here, programs and initiatives, that kind of thing. I also will recommend our PAC website for the how procurement works, because we have a lot of guides and things like that for that specifically. And then support. There is all these resource guides, and they're actually really good step-by-step guides. So they have all these listed here on the support page. So that's always there as well. For the tender opportunities page, just going to show you a little bit about that. So you'll always see that there's awarded and open are the filters that are automatically applied. So you'll see all open tender notices in this column. And then here you can click for award notices. So those are previous awards, and then contract history. There's a slight difference between award notices. So award notices are contracts awarded by the Government of Canada. And then contract history is contracts awarded by Public Services and Procurement Canada. So that's my department. There's just a little bit of a difference between what they are and why they're separate, because I get that question, but they're just two separate tabs on here. So tender notices will show all open notices, and something new about Canada Buys as compared to the buy and sell. The buy and sell used to have only federal tenders. Canada Buys now has federal tenders as well as tenders from the provinces, as well as the MASH sector, so municipalities, academia, schools, and hospitals. So all of those entities across Canada can post their opportunities to Canada Buys. So that's a new functionality that has been added. And then you can always also sort them with these arrows here. So if you want to sort by date or anything like that, you can click on these arrows to sort in the opposite directions. You can only sort by one of these columns at a time. So you can see the title, the category, whether it's goods, services. I think there's a couple other categories I'll show you in a second. The open amendment date, closing date, and the organization who is purchasing the requirement. So we have these filters as well. So there's different categories: construction, goods, services related to goods. You can always filter by those. Notice types. So this is what I was talking about with, say, RFPs, requests for proposals, standing offers, supply arrangements, that kind of thing. You can filter by those. Status, location. There's all of these countries because having Canada Buys as part of our, oh my goodness, the name is escaped, our trade agreements, part of our trade agreements. And so as part of NATO, so there's other locations on here as well. So this is broader than just Canada, actually. Published date and closing date. So I'm going to note something. So under location, we also have all of these, all the provinces, and even down to the community. So if I filter by Newfoundland and Labrador, add the filter on, then we get 50 open tender notices. Usually there's like a 50 here next to this for some reason. Okay. So there's 50 open tender, oh, there it is, 54 open tender notices in Newfoundland, Labrador. When you do filter by the location like this, for the most part, you're only going to get federal opportunities. There's a little bit of an issue with the filtering. At those outside organizations, like the provinces and those in the MASH sector, the regions aren't often tagged. So if you filter by Newfoundland, Labrador, and you are interested in looking at not just federal opportunities, but other ones as well, you might miss out on those. So this is just a tidbit of information that I like to share in my webinars, because people may think that they're seeing everything if they filter by Newfoundland, but you may miss those other opportunities. But if you are just interested in federal, you can filter by Newfoundland and Labrador, and then you'll see the current tender notices, award notices, and contract history. Another thing that I will note, when everything migrated over to Canada Buys, not all of the award notice and the contract history data migrated over as well. So if you are interested in getting into so much detail on getting into research, or if there's a business that you're working with that wants to, really get into the research on who buys what, these procurement and contracting data sets are always there, and that's the full information on who has purchased what for competitive requirements. So those data sets are always there as well, in addition to these two tabs. So I'm going to just show you a couple examples of what I was talking about with the difference between SAP Ariba and not SAP Ariba, just so it's a bit more clear. So I just searched for food in Newfoundland, Labrador. I'll go back to tender notices. So we have, this is the RFP for food services. This is at the DFO building down in White Hills. So you can see on this bidding details tab, so this is just an example of a tender notice. You can see it has a description, just a general description, contact information. So this is the contracting authority I was talking about. Bidding details, so these are these solicitation documents. Those are posted directly onto Canada Buys, and then any related notices. You can also see summary information over here, region of delivery, different UNSPSC codes. You can also use these codes to search. I'll talk about that after as well. So you know that this tender does not use SAP Ariba because the solicitation documents are available here on this posting. Something else I want to show you, you could always follow tender notices. There's a bell right here. You click on follow this notice. You put in your information and then create an email notification, and you'll get all updates on this tender notice. And then also, in the description tab, if you scroll right down, partner with another business. So this is what I was talking about. Oh, the functionality to add your company name is temporarily unavailable. Strange. I've never seen that before. Usually, this is where you would add your company name if you're interested in partnering or subcontracting. For some reason, it's not available right now. But on any tender, at the bottom of the description tab, you can indicate that you'd like to partner, and then it's publicly viewable. Anybody can see it. So I'm going to show you another example. A tender notice that does use SAP Ariba, just so you'll see what the difference is. So this is the same thing. It does have like the date, closing date, all that, contact information, bidding details. So this one has this green button here. So that means it uses SAP Ariba. So this means that you do need to have an SAP Ariba account to view the solicitation documents. So it can be a bit frustrating for companies that don't have Ariba accounts set up yet. So that's why we recommend that everybody who's interested in doing business with the Government of Canada set up an SAP Ariba account so that they can get in and see all the documents and be able to bid on tenders if they want to. And then also, so say I wanted to look at food in Newfoundland, Labrador, knowing that I'm probably only going to see federal tenders, I can also follow this search. So you can set notifications for any search in Canada Buys. So you can put in all the same information, create email notification. You'll only get one email notification a day, even if there's multiple postings. They'll save it up for 24 hours. I get mine like 4 or 5 a.m. So don't have your email notifications turned on your phone next to your bed or something. So they come kind of in the middle of the night for me. But you'll only get one, and then you can always remove yourself. There's instructions at the bottom of the email on how to take yourself off the list if you want to. So what I mentioned as well about not being able to see, non-federal tenders. I'm just going to show you one more thing. So I just took that filter off for Newfoundland. I'm just going to search by Newfoundland. And when I do that, we'll see other tender notices for the Government of Newfoundland Labrador, Memorial University, English School District. So there are a lot actually being posted more and more from other entities. I think they're working in the background on getting the filters sorted out so that they all come up if you sort by the region. But for now, I do like to mention, just like if you are interested in just looking at opportunities in Newfoundland, you can search using that as a search term, and you will get more of those non-federal government opportunities here as well. And they still use their own ways of posting. So Canada Buys is just one more. And I think that was it that I wanted to show you in Canada Buys. If you have any questions or anything that you specifically wanted me to show you, let me know.
So a question, Amy, is about the links to the projects that you talked about, the catering project and the Indigenous Artists Project. When you send me the presentation, if there's any information on those, can you also include that?
Yes, definitely. Okay, yeah, I'm seeing the chat here now. I didn't have that open. Yeah, I can definitely send those links. Yeah, we're promoting them as much as we can. We actually in Nova Scotia just had the first project come from that list of Indigenous artists. They did some murals on the wall in the building that my department works out of, actually in Halifax. So they are using that list. So we're trying to promote it as much as we can. So I will definitely share those links with you. And they're here on Canada Buys. And they do use SAP Ariba. So to view the full information, you do need to have an SAP Ariba account.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Any questions for Amy? So I can say from my experience, first off, Amy and her team are fantastic to help. Can't give enough shout outs for that. And because you're going to need help. It's a daunting process. It's not that it's 100% difficult. It's just tedious, and it takes time to do all the steps that you need to do. And so it's kind of sometimes just having that cheerleader, much like all the others on this call that are just always encouraging people to stick with it and keep doing it. Sometimes that's all it is. I know Amy's predecessor was just, you're almost there. You're almost there. Keep at it. Keep at it. And she would just keep encouraging me. And because it was just the pro services, which I have the supply arrangement for, I opened it up. It's a 67-page tender. I closed it. It's like, it was just, I can't look at that. And as I got into it, it was a 67-page tender because it was a screenshot of everything you need to do, but it was just so tedious to do. And it took me quite some time, but I can say without a doubt, I have received work because I'm on that list, and I'll get a random email that will say, came across your name, do you do this? And then I get an opportunity to put a quote in. The other thing that happens when you're on the pre-approved list is you'll often get an email from a purchasing agent saying, we are looking to see if anybody on this list is qualified to do this. Doesn't mean they're putting the RFP out yet, but they're testing to see DFO wants to do a consultation with such and such. Is there anybody on this list that can do it? And then you get an opportunity to reply back and say yes or no. And then later will be, when they put out their solicitation for it, but they're kind of just testing to see. The other thing that has happened for me is government departments have contacted me. And when they find out I have a supply arrangement, we've been able to turn a contract around very quickly. Because they don't have to wait for me to get into the system and get approved and all of that sort of thing. So then I can go around and say, here's my supply arrangement number, here's my grid, here's my code of confidentiality form, here's my conflict form. Like I just send it all to them. And then they're like, oh, and here's my direct deposit form. And then they're like, oh, this is really cool. And the contracting agent just goes, right through and can make the contract very quickly. So as tedious as it has been to do, it certainly has paid off for me as an individual. So if anybody has questions or want to ask about that process, I'd be more than happy to speak on that as well. And because of Amy's presentation back in September, I've gone through the process now to do the TSPS, the task-based ones, and they keep asking me for another piece of information. So I'm going through the process. So I'm hoping by the end of December, I'll find out if I have that agreement as well. So thank you, Amy, and Navigate for bringing you in, because I didn't know about that side.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You'll have to keep me updated on that for sure.
Definitely. So the first time they asked me for sign this form, I'm like, oh my gosh, I made it past the first step. So it's encouraging. So for those of you supporting businesses, Kelly had to drop off, but for Marie and Kelly, both with the women-owned businesses, and then Hillary, I'm thinking of your international students with the those folks that are wanting to start businesses that they may fall under some of those categories that Amy was talking about the equity impacted groups. So you might see
I'm thinking I might reach out in the new year to get a presentation for some of our alumni, especially because they're a little bit farther along with their businesses compared to the current group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be great. That's kind of the businesses that we normally work with, of those that are kind of, a bit further along, have their business numbers, are ready to do business with us. Like if it's a startup that doesn't have all that, then we'll refer to other government departments to help get them ready. But yeah, that'd be great. You can always reach out, and I'd be happy to do something like this. Or if they're in St. John's, we can always do in person as well.
Excellent. It's very timely. I'm planning out our January to June schedule, so this will be top of mind.
Excellent. Any other questions or comments for Amy or anyone else on the call?
No, this is great. I think I can already think of a number of my clients who I could refer this to, and I think it could give them some opportunities.
Yeah, I'm thinking too, Allison, there's someone who recently asked me about Indigenous owned businesses. So, right away now, get registered, at least get on the list. Even if you don't go through, the whole process of getting a supply arrangement or anything else, but at least to get onto some of those qualified lists is important.
For those Indigenous lists, is status required or is self-identification accepted?
So those are administered through Indigenous Services Canada. That list is. It's not. They need to be either have a status card or be on a list for a modern treaty. So in our province, that would just be the Nunatsiavut government. If they're on their business list, then they don't need to have, they don't even need to be on the IBD. If they're on the Nunatsiavut government business list, they don't actually need to be on the IBD to count towards a 5% or be eligible for Indigenous set-asides and things like that. So it's the IBD or on a modern treaty list. But when it comes to that, ISK has the ins and outs of it, I think, but it's either a status card or a letter from the band saying that it's a recognized member, something along those lines, that they can have more of the they'll give more of the details on that. They need something substantiated from the band, whether it's a status card or something like that. But yeah, they would be the ones to ask the question too.
Okay, no, that's
Yeah.
great. I have the Indigenous artists who might be interested, so.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I can always send them my way. And if there's any questions I can answer on that side of things with the IBD, then I can connect them with the right person that is to answer those.
Awesome. So Allison and Brennan, you've got your event coming up this week. Marie, I missed you last week. I was out of town. I know you're at another event. You'd reached out, but it's the circuit. I'm going off to an AGM for CMHI today and their social this afternoon. So it's that time of year where we get to connect with a whole bunch of people, which is awesome. So once again, I want to thank Amy for joining us today in making this presentation. I will share it when she sends it to me. As always, I do an email with a recap of the event. And most likely what I'm going to do is just say, if you want the presentation, contact me, and then I'll send it rather than just blasting it out to everyone. And then, and if Amy, if you send those links to the other projects, I can put those in as well. I think that there's a lot of people that probably need to know about this type of process, and the fact that you have these services to offer one-on-one, I think is what people don't realize is available. And so I want to thank you for that. I also want to thank Janice Ryan, our sponsor for Rudy's Courier Service, for sponsoring this month's coffee break. I don't have a date yet for January. I'm still working with a potential sponsor and an idea, but if you have any suggestions, or if there's anyone that wants to come on and speak, then please feel free to do so and send that along, because I'm always looking for ideas. I know this one was just near and dear to me because I've gone through the process and I know that it's worked. So I was, very happy to endorse Amy and bring her on. It's scary, but it works. So that's all I'll say on that. Any other questions?
Hopefully I can make it less scary for people.
Exactly. It's like anything with government, right? It doesn't matter what level. There's things you have to do and things you have to answer, and you feel like you're doing it 3 times because didn't I put this in the tender response? But yes, you got to sign another form, and then you got to sign another form, and then you got to sign another form. But it's just have the gumption to do it, and you'll get something from it. So for those of you supporting businesses, that's what I would say to them is just keep at it and all of that. Want to, as always, thank you folks for supporting my entrepreneur coffee breaks. I think the opportunity to connect virtually is just another layer. We don't always get a chance to get in person, and I know that some people are still a little uncomfortable in always getting into crowds. So it's just another way for us to connect. I know for me, networking is what's grown my business. So it's we may be large in geography, but I say we're small in community in this province. So it's nice to make the connections. So before I let everyone go, anyone else have anything they'd like to add or?
So just a quick question from Marie-Renée. Let me know the next time the Coin Franco is on the go.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will see you guys on Friday. I'm coming to your holiday mixer, so I'm looking forward to see you guys.
Awesome, that's great.
We
Yeah,
hope you all
we're
come out.
yeah,
Yay!
we're hoping to see you all there if you're in the Corner Brook area, and if not, around this great virtual table.
Oh, awesome. Linda's going to join. Do we need to register with tickets now, Brendan? Is that new?
We are doing a registration for this one.
Okay.
So I just popped the Eventbrite link in the chat there.
Yeah, I saw that. Okay. I'll make
Just
sure.
for numbers for catering, right? So we have a sense of who's coming.
Okay. I'll definitely register for that as well. And that's it. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Christmas is what I celebrate, so I'll say that. And enjoy the season, and we'll connect again either in person over the next couple of weeks, or I'll see you folks in the new year. And thank you once again, Amy, and hope you're feeling better soon.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's nice to meet everyone. Hopefully we'll speak again.
All right.
Thank
Take care.
you.
And Hillary, I'm
Thank
sure
you.
you're
Happy
going to be in
holidays.
touch with your program.
Yes, I will.
All right. Take care, everyone. Have a fantastic day.
You too. See ya.